Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen J Lotus Pimp Sunkiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe, with a royale review for My Wife and Kids, Season 1, Episode 6. And the name of this episode is Work It. Okay, let's see what we working with. Without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into the specificities of the episode. Popping it off, we start off with Jay coming in the house looking like she just got home from work, and vigorously Katie is rushing down the stairs yelling for her life, honey, and Claire is sturdy behind her yelling threats. And by the time they make it to Jay, honey, Jay ain't been able to come in, get a whiff of fresh air in the house, you know what I'm saying, fix her no glass of water, grab her a little piece of granola bar, or Nathaniel, honey. Honey, I wouldn't mind being a mother at some point, but I am very patient. Okay? I am patient, honey, because I'm sure a lot of the mamas out there can relate. Fresh in the door, fresh off work. Just want to kick your shoes off, kick your feet up, you know what I'm saying? Lay back, breathe, just think, and honey, I ain't got time and got to go, Miss Hall. I'm sorry, that's a Next Friday reference. I don't know what's wrong with me. Anywho, they make it on down there to Jay. Jay has to step in between them and referee the situation. Because Claire's yelling now, I'm going to kick yo. And Jay is like, you going to do what now? Who? What? Huh? What is he giving? But evidently, Claire is PO'd because Katie is being a baby sister, as us baby sisters can be, and done been rummaging through her things, playing in her makeup, not playing dress up and then putting the makeup on. No, she's using her Bobbi Brown eyeliner pencil to color. Now, baby, I would have been 38 hot as well, so I can't too much blame Miss Claire right now. And Katie talking about, I was trying to make my monster ugly. I just wanted to make it ugly. It seemed like the pencil always works for Claire. Basically, she calling Claire ugly. I cannot. That's fucked up. So Jay is like, Katie, what did your father tell you about planning Claire's things? And she gonna say, to not get caught. Well, baby, you failed. Look like you got caught. So it's a double whammy for me. But this is low-key, high-key the first indication that Jay be telling Michael to regulate things as the man of the house. And he don't be no better than the kids on some shit. A mess. And Jay is looking at her like, ma'am. And Katie is like, well, he did. That is what he told me. He just said don't get caught. And again, double whammy. Double negative, honey. Because you failed. But Jay just goes ahead and sends her up the stairs. And Claire continuously has an attitude. Understood, to be honest. But it's some extra things going on up under the surface. And Jay is like, ma'am, I have told you to be more mature when it comes to your sister. You 12. She's 6. You can't be threatening her life for another 3-4 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on. And child, my bad. She said Katie just turned 5. Not 6, but 5. Either way, she's too young for you to be threatening her life, okay? Let her get into the world and see some things first. Just a little bit, little pitter pat on cake, quick little cute little dang. And Claire is real funky about a neck. You know she can roll that neck, honey. And she like, okay, can I go now? And Jay is like, what you got an attitude for? Excuse me? Girl, what is wrong with you? And Claire like, nothing. And she like, don't tell me nothing because you've been in a funky mood for the past couple of days. And Claire's like, honey, I am 12 years old and you keep treating me like a child. And Jay is like, baby, didn't I just tell you to act more like an adult when it comes to your sister? So Claire go ahead and just kind of get to the nitty gritty of it all, of something else that's really bothering her, which is all of her friends have a 9 o'clock weekend curfew and she has to be in by 7. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Okay. Claire got a point. Claire has a point. She's 12 and her weekend curfew is 7. Come on, honey. Yeah. By 12, I would give her 9, honey. I would at least give her 9:30. Like, you know, I don't think that's too much to ask for. Okay? So, And she like, yeah, mom, you treating me like a child. And Jay is like, well, you're certainly acting like a child now, aren't you? Okay, now, Jay, that ain't even much fair, sir. That ain't even much fair. Because, one, you shouldn't be telling her to act like an adult. You should say, be more mature. Because there are adults that are not even mature. You feel me? You feel me? But we're giving Jay some grace. You know, parenting is not easy. And Shawty doing the best that she can. It's a whole lot of transitionary things going on. And you see, she wasn't even able to make it in the house without having to be a referee. Bars. But yeah, Shawty, yeah, like, you asking a lot of the girl. And she already going through, you know what I'm saying, a lot of transitionary things. And I feel like it's a lot because you're not giving her the extra attention that is needed for her to figure out how to balance all these things and balance her feelings around it. Not to mention, it's one of those things where the oldest daughter, no matter where she falls in at in the actual number of siblings, the oldest daughter ends up being pressured to grow up fast, but then at the same time is treated like a child when it comes to keeping a strong arm on them, keeping them right up under the parent's thumb type shit, depriving them of things. And so all the while you're telling them to hurry up and grow up and act like an adult. But then when they start doing that, you calling them fast, you, again, taking things away from them. Anything that they ask for, it's a no. Meanwhile, your baby and Junior, who is the oldest boy, like, Jay definitely handles him like with kitten gloves on some shit. And it's kind of one of those dick worshiping things, like, because he's a boy, you know, specifically in the black community type shit, because he's a black male, he's being coddled because the world will already be so hard on him and all this, that, and the third. Like, but don't realize that you're stunting him and you're also creating discourse with your daughter, specifically this middle one here, who is also evidently still dealing with not being the baby anymore. I mean, she's like 6 or 7 years older than Katie, but even by this situation, it does seem like Jay lets everybody else get away with everything except Claire. And when Claire speaks up and says anything, she's told that she's being immature, which is not cool. You know what I'm saying? Which is not cool. And this is definitely habitual and a part of the toxic spectrum of the culture. So yeah. I didn't want to say that just wasn't fair. How you gonna say, well, you acting like a child now, ain't you? Well, she is a child. And at the same time, you're telling her to be mature. You're telling her to act like a child. The girl is confused. And you insulting her and being shady is not helping. So soon as she say that, Michael comes through the door. He's like, hey, how y'all doing? Claire immediately gets bubbly, rushes over to him like, hey, daddy, how are you? I love you. I'm so happy to see you. Oh my gosh. And then, you know, she goes on heading up the stairs, and Jay is like, well, what about me? And she's like, bye. Oh, and that was some great acting from Jazz Ray Cole as well, because y'all know she can have that pipsqueak voice, and she's so excited to see Daddy, and then she walking away, and it's like, bye, just monotone as fuck. So I love the vocal variety there. So Jay makes a stank face, clearly bothered, as Claire intended for her to be. And she storms on off into the kitchen. And, well, right before Michael is like, come on, what about you? What about you? Come on in. There's room for one more. That's room for one more. Then she storms off into the kitchen. She got an attitude now. She is over it, okay? And it's understandable as well. But Michael is trying to get some love. And he's like, come on, give me a hug. She's like, no, leave me alone. I don't want to give you no hug. He's like, well, can I squeeze your butt? She's like, no. He's like, dang, what's wrong with you? Why can't you no love? What is going on? What's going on? And she like, they look just like you. So essentially, he is triggering her. She needs somewhere to relieve her stress. And so he's like, okay, come on. What's going on? Talk to Daddy. And she lays it on him about Claire being funky with her. Okay? Being real cold and nasty to her. Okay? And then she hands him this sheet of paper. And she like, look at what came in the mail today. It's Junior's latest test scores, the mathing of it all. Be sure to watch the reviews leading up to this one, honey, because the very last episode was Junior thanking the phone about his grades. his math grade in particular. And so that's good writing too, because they introduced us to his math struggles in the previous episode, and now we are deeper into it, seeing that there is a deeper problem. And honey, Michael looking at the paper, and he like, oh, okay, a 61, that's not that bad. Jay turned the paper around, and it is a 6. No, it's a 19. It is a 19. He got a 19 on his last test, his last math test. Woo of the child. So Jay is both worried and frustrated all at the same time, and she just really wants to know what is going on with him. She feel like he needs some motivation, and Mike is like, maybe he just dumb. And Jay is like, what do you mean? Like, what? How you just gonna call him dumb? He like, look, I ain't saying like Judge W dumb, but just like, I mean, look at me. I ain't finished school, got my GED, everything cool. Ooh, 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 a battle of the perspectives. But I do get what he's saying. He kind of trying to open another door for him. Like, maybe they need to accept that this whole school math thing is just not for him. Like, he might be the type of dude that end up having to get his GED, do a trade, you know what I'm saying, start his own business, stuff like that. He may be smart in some other ways that we're missing out on just focusing on this, which in the previous episode, his report card really wasn't bad. It was just the math part. So I get what Mike is saying. Also, I get what Jay is saying, because Jay don't want to give up on him. And she wants him to finish school because she wants him to essentially do better than either of them did. They didn't finish school, you know, one, because they ended up having him as teenagers. And, of course, Michael just wasn't like a scholar like that. So he didn't have the motivation to keep going despite having Junior. And then, of course, the change of times. A lot of people back then, that's what they just understood was the thing to do. The teenagers just get pregnant. They can't go to school no more. You ain't a child no more. It's time for you to get a job. And things have evolved since then in certain ways. Still, you know what I'm saying? Do some work in some other ways. But yeah, part of that work Jay is trying to do by preventing certain things and, like I said, encouraging him and not giving up on him as it concerns him, at least finishing school, which they did not do. But yeah, Jay is like, you know, she refuses to accept that he can't learn. She thinks he just needs to be more motivated. And Michael is like, well, what else are we to do? Took the TV out of his room. He can't go nowhere on school days. And we even took all the lotion out the bathroom. Unfortunate. And Jay is like, look, one of us is going to have to talk to him. And she giving Michael this look like, and you know it's going to be you. Like, I love the facial acting of this entire cast, okay? But yeah, she giving him that look that's like, yeah, somebody, but honey, it's going to be you. It's going to be you. And they flip a coin. Jay is like, heads, while it's already in the air. He put it down. Baby, it's on heads. So Michael got to be the one to go talk to him. Now, I don't really understand why the first thing that didn't come to their mind wasn't a tutor. But it has also been brought to my attention how much a lot of parents are very timid about asking for extra help with their kids. So maybe that could play a part. But yeah. So Michael goes on up to talk to him. Walk in, and Junior is up there playing video games. And Michael is like, what's up? What you doing? And he like, working on my edge. And Michael is like, what about your math edge? Like, how about developing one? And Junior is like, yeah, that ain't really my thing. It's too tough. I ain't fucking with it, you know what I'm talking about? And Michael is like, see, yeah, that's what I told her. She thinks you not motivated. And I think you're just stupid. And Junior, old doofus self, turn around cheesing, talking about, yeah, you right. Sir, no. But we'll unpack that another time. Like, Junior's comfortability with being stupid. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna touch on it just a little bit. I think a part of that is the way that Jay coddles him. It stunts him and make him feel like he don't really have to try, like, talking about, because he gonna get away with it anyway. He's gonna find a way around it anyway. Somebody's gonna be there to save him and protect him from all of the heartbreak and woes and hard work of it all anyway. So it stunts him, and he gets comfortable in that, just accepting that, oh, I can't do this. and that may not be the truth. It's just he's comfortable in it because he can float using everybody else as his magic carpet. And not who. So, like I said, he turns around all cheesy, talking about, yeah, you right. Michael called him stupid and shit. And Michael like, yeah, like, even if I paid you $1,000 to score an A on your final exam, you wouldn't be able to do it. Nah, this done turned the tables in Junior's mind. He like, whoa, what you talking about? Run that back. Spin the block for me. Like, you really think that's true? And Michael is like, yeah, if you ain't doing no better by now, you can't really get no better, even if there's a wage on the table. Like, what difference would that make? And this sounds fucked up, but this is kind of Michael's way of using reverse psychology or psychology, okay? But this is his way of getting in Junior's mind to see what he values and what motivates him. And a simple thing with most people is money. That's a lot of people's motivation behind certain things, and well, a lot of things. And two, it can also kind of give you some indication of if Junior is more of the trade type, entrepreneur type, you know? And like I said, money motivates most people, so this is also Michael seeing this as an easy way out type shit. And he proceeds to try to walk out. Not really, but making Junior think that he's done with the conversation. And Junior's like, hold on, I think I could, work harder if that's the deal. And Michael is like, okay, I hear what you're talking. We can make some shake. And they shake on it. And Junior is like, so what making you want to do all this? And Michael is like, well, you messing up in math is starting to intervene on my personal life because it's making your mother unhappy. And when she's unhappy, we can't get to that. She be withholding sex from your boy. And he tells him, look, keep this on the hush. Don't say nothing. I'm bound to fake like I'm cussing you the fuck out. Ow. And it pans down to a shot of Jay sitting on the couch. Okay, Michael done opened the door upstairs in Junior's room to fuss at him. Like, it made me think about Lil Don't Cost a Thing, where Steve Harvey opened the door and he stepped in. Your mama wanted me to come talk to you about what's got into you. And then he closed the door. But what I want to talk about is you scratching that kid. Okay. Okay, we back on track. But so, yeah, in the doorway, he's yelling at Junior, laying it on thick, honey, making it seem like he means all the business in the world, honey. I ain't gonna lie, he kind of shook me up. We ain't used to Damon talking like that. Even when he was Major Payne, he had a bass in his voice like that, honey. Then he slammed the door. And Jay's looking concerned. You know how mamas be looking when the man finally put his dick on the table, his foot down, as it concerns the kids. She wants them to get their discipline, but at the same time, she be, feeling for him. Be feeling extra empathy and shit. But also, this is a part of the type of help that Jay has been looking for. And again, showing them differences in how she handles Claire versus the other kids, specifically Junior. Because she really put the battery in Michael's back to go handle it. Now, I understand it because there are times where they need that male-to-male understanding of things. You know what I'm saying? It's just also, Jay don't want to be the one, like, she still wants to be liked and favored by Junior to some capacity. And so, like I said, she put Michael up to doing it so that she could remain a good guy. And, you know what I'm saying? He do what he's supposed to do. And again, that's part of what he's supposed to do as a father. I'm just also noticing how at the same time, Jay is avoiding being stern with Junior in particular. Because she don't have no problem being all snooty and fuckless when it comes to Claire. Okay. And I also think another part of it is in cases where it's a mother and son and they reach a certain age. Sometimes they ain't even got to reach a certain age. But when they've experienced certain dynamics throughout their life of men being domineering, pig-headed, controlling type shit, which it seems like that's kind of the background that Jay comes from, as far as her family dynamics and all that, it can make them like subconsciously afraid of their sons, specifically when they reach a certain age and size, because the instinct knows that this male is now at a size and an age where they can physically attack me and do great harm to me. You know what I'm saying? So in cases where the father is involved, kind of end up using, and again, the father should be the protector, okay? But yeah, using the father as a protector of them from the son in a way. So like they're afraid, Jacob be afraid to discipline him because of whatever like trauma response, instinctive knowing is in the back of her mind. She don't want to be on bad terms with her son. It's like it's a combination of emotions. Coddling him out of habit, and then also potentially being afraid of his biology, you see? But yeah, primal shit is what I'm speaking on. But Michael gets back downstairs and he's looking all dilapidated and everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? He just got worked up. He got to calm down and all this and that. And Jay, gives him a big old hug. It's basically a thank you. It's all right. You did a good job. All that. And of course, Michael is smirking over her shoulder. Now, we get to the next scene where Claire is coming home from dance class. She said dance classes. And Jay is like, hey, how you doing? How was dance class? She was like, it was all right. Oh, did you learn any new moves? No. Well, money well spent. And Claire's like, look, I gotta go finish my science project. Jay's like, I could help you. She's like, whatever. And looking at her crazy and stuff out the side of her eye. Michael gets home. And again, Claire peps up, rushes over, pushes Jay out the goddamn way, and hugs him ever so sweetly. And this is definitely giving some light Eve's Bayou type shit, where Claire is using her daddy to get back at her mama. And I do think that there's also this thing where, again, something else that's kind of a toxic element of society, and it also hits real hard in the Black community, where you blame the women, you blame the mamas for everything. So amongst all of the transitions that's going on, one of those transitions is, as I said before, Michael being at the house more often. However, Claire might have some resentment built up about her daddy, but she directs it towards her mama. Like, of course, their relationship is not abusive, but I have noticed a lot of the times when children grow up in abusive households where the father beats the mama and they keep staying and going back, sometimes the children's mind reason it as, well, we keep going through all of this hell because you're being weak and you're allowing it. You're not protecting us by leaving him and taking us with you. So Claire in certain ways could feel like her mama is weak and she only want to be tough when it comes to her. All at the same time, she don't want to direct that anger towards her daddy like talking about, because she still wants to be daddy's little girl. She still wants that favor. She still wants that attention, specifically making up for lost time all at the same time. But yes, after she embraces Michael, she runs on upstairs and he's like, oh, well, first she tells him, yes, I want to show you this new step I learned in dance class. Petty boots. Because she definitely just told Jay, class went out late, it was I ain't learned no new steps. Shawty is petty. P-E to the T-T-Y. Anywho, she goes on upstairs and Michael is like, oh, that's such a great child, isn't she? Just wonderful. And Jay, goodness, I done told y'all, I be about to call Jay Claire because she the mama, and Claire's name is Claire, but in my mind, I be thinking about Claire Huxtable. So I be finna call Jay Claire. But yeah, so Michael's like, oh, she's such a great child. And Jay is like, yeah, when she's asleep, I liked her better the first 9 months when she couldn't talk. And Michael's like, dang, what is eating at you? And she like, I just can't talk to her lately. Like, I can't get nothing good out of her. She just acting like I want a Charlie Brown teachers or something. Just want. And Claire's like, Jay. Jay is like, did you just see what she just did? Bump me out the way so she could get to you first? And he like, yeah, because you needed to box her out. You need for him to box her out. He like, you got to get sturdy with it. You got to post up. And Jay is like, man, I really want to get through to her. I know she hear me talking, but it's like everything is going in one ear and out the other. And Michael makes a very valid point. He like, maybe you got to find something that both of y'all like to do and, bring some fun into it. And then casually bring up your subjects. And bruh, that's some of the best advice that you can give to A lot of people, but women specifically, mothers specifically, because like I said, Jay is kind of doing like the best. I ain't gonna say kind of. She's doing the best she can because she's been a housewife. She's been doing much of the load of everything. So it's understandable if she hasn't had the capacity or the space to even be introspective, like talking about, to consider even what Michael has just said, because she's had to try her best to do all of the nurturing and all of the disciplining for a while, Brian. A while. And with that said, at certain points, you know what I'm saying, you gotta try to bring the fun back into things in order to get through. Because, yeah, you want to get your point across. You want to let her know that you mean business and all of this and that. But at the same time, folks get tired of hearing that shit after a while. And that's something that can, like, potentially create a perspective in Claire's mind of, like, you weak and you only want to be tough when it comes to me. Because, Jay, you saying a lot of stuff and you nagging. But when it comes to other people, you don't stand on business, shawty. You fold like a shaft. You fold like a flip phone, okay? So yeah, eventually all that nagging and this and that starts to sound like womp, 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 womp. Because don't nobody want to hear that. Especially not all the time. And especially when it's imbalanced. Like you always, 85-90% of the time, coming to me with a problem. Something I done did wrong. Something I can't do. Something you want and need me to do. What about what I want? So yeah, it's time to smooth it out, take a step back, you know what I'm saying, and make some things more casual. Approach. And Jay commends him on his good advice, and she like, you know, you've been doing real good at this. You need to give me some of them secrets. I mean, Junior is upstairs in his room studying real hard, real smart. Like, what is it giving? And Michael is like, hey, I'm like the black Tony Robbins, you know what I'm saying? Call me Tony Robbins. And honey, we're going to call him something. We're going to call him something once Katie bring her butt downstairs talking about, I want $1,000 too. So now it's apparent that Junior been running off at the mouth of Katie. Sir, he told you to keep it on the hush. Don't say nothing. Now she coming down here spilling the tea, blowing up the spots, and seems to be mighty proud of herself for it too. And Michael tries to, you know what I'm saying, just look in the other direction, pick up some papers to read and all this, that, and the third. And Jay is looking at him like, excuse me, s'il vous plaît? What is she talking about? And Katie is like, Daddy is giving Junior $1,000 if he gets sent A. And Jay clocks him and is like, okay, with your secret motivational techniques. And Michael is like, look, I just don't understand what the big deal is if it works. And Jay is about to pop her top, but she stops and turns to Katie and sends her on up them stairs. Honey, Katie was propped up on that couch, ready to watch the show down. But once Katie makes it upstairs, Jay starts lighting into Michael, and she's like, bro, what is you doing? It's not what I asked you to do. I don't want him to be doing everything just for the sake of money. And Michael is like, why not? Because I want him to love learning for the sake of learning. And he's like, for what? So that he can get his diploma. For what? So that he can get his degree. For what? So that he can get a good job. For what? So that he can make a lot of money. And Michael is like, I rest my case. And I mean, yeah, to a degree, but also, okay, he could do all of that. And if he's doing all of that for the sake of money, then he'll end up misusing all of the things that he gains. And also misusing. And Michael's like, look, way I see it, you pay him the first time. He proves that he is capable. And then he won't have no other excuse. And we go from there. And Jay is like, no. I don't like it. I'm totally against it. And we're going to have to figure out something else. And Michael is like, has anyone told you how beautiful you look today? How they trying to butter her up? She plays along with it. Gets real close to him, honey, like she don't kiss him in the mouth. Real something nasty. And then tells him, you need to fix this. Otherwise, you won't see this beautifulness again, player. And he goes on back up to Junior's room. And he's like, I'm not interrupting your studying, am I? And Junior's like, nah, I just feel like the stupidest person on the planet right now. Like, it's like I look at all this stuff and I'm reading it and I'm taking it in and it gets to my brain and it just stops. Honey, I know what that's like because I ain't good at math either. And Mike is like, yeah, I feel you. He wasn't good at math either. And that's another place where his method is coming from. He really don't know what to do for Junior because he don't have nothing to go by. He wasn't good at math either. He didn't even, like, get to prove himself, like talking about, dropped out of school, got his GED, started a business. So what's been coming to him mostly is like what works for him, I suppose. He had to be motivated by money when it came to his experience of everything, because of course there was a kid involved at the time. And it was just different times, you know. But yeah, Michael says, you know, I gotta take one more stab at trying to unlock that algebra door you got there. And Junior's like, I don't think nobody lives behind the algebra door. And Michael is like, okay, look, I got one more thing to try. And if money don't motivate you, then it's one other thing might. And Junior looking at him like, what's that? So we pan to the next scene. Junior is opening the door. And in walks this real pretty young thing who resembles the girl that ends up playing Vanessa. Not Megan Good, but the other girl. I can't remember her name right now, but I think she is Berry Gordy's daughter. One of Berry Gordy's daughters, I think. But like her aesthetic and all that resembles her. So I find that to be real funny, like how his tutor looks versus getting into the future of the show. And he ends up with a girlfriend, wife, baby mama, all that. Wife, it ends up being that resembles this tutor that he had, that he fell in love with. But child, as soon as she walks in, Junior is stunned by her physicality, honey. But she steps in, she says her name is Danielle, and Junior is still here about paralyzed child. And they get up, they greet her, and Jay is like, where you meet her at? Where you find her? And Michael is like, you remember my old math teacher, Miss Jackson? Well, this is her daughter. And Danielle is like, yeah, my mama still says that you were her biggest failure. And Michael is like, child, she tried to beat math into me. You know what I'm saying? She tried to beat the knowledge into me. She never gave up. She always gave me my pride. Sound like he enjoyed them beatings too. You got a little kink there, Michael. But he said she always gave him his pride. And Danielle is like, well, maybe I can give some of that to Junior, Lil Junior. Honey, the innuendos of it all. Because Junior is over there looking like, Everybody knows what's going on here. All that blood done rushed on down. Po thing. Danielle turns to him and is like, okay, so where's the best place for us to do it? He like, huh? She said, where's the best place for us to get started with the tutoring? And he's like, well, we can do it in my room. And Jay is like, no, sir. And she turns around and she's like, the kitchen is fine. We can just go to the kitchen. Everything's fine. And Michael says, study hard, Junior. He's like, I'm way ahead of you. And he runs into the damn wall. Bless his heart. But they continue on into the kitchen. And now Jay got to fuss at Michael again and snap him up out of his trance that he in. And it's like, I told you to find him a tutor for algebra, not Wonder Bra. Because, honey, Miss Danielle is well endowed at the top, baby. Very much so. Well endowed. And Michael goes on to basically explain to her that the power of pussy persuasion is sometimes the way to go. And he runs down the list. Of course, we know about Miss Jackson. Then, of course, it seemed like he had a sexy-ass science teacher. Then he had a badass Spanish teacher. And it's one of the ways that Spanish stuck in his head. And he learned so many different things to say. Specifically romantic and... I don't want to say sap because I feel like it has a bad connotation. But a lot of puppy love type things that he learned to say in Spanish off the back of his badass Spanish teacher. I mean, I see what he's saying. And Jay is worried about him like getting his heart broken and everything because he gonna get all swooned and whatnot by her, and then it ain't gonna go nowhere. So it's like, is it gonna hurt his motivation even more? And that's a good that's a reasonable concern to have. And we'll tap back into Michael's perspective as this continues on. Now, the next morning, Junior is sitting at the table. Mike and Jay are getting ready to go to work and everything. Jay calls over to him sitting at the table. He got his books out, and he like kind of just tweedling through whatever this weird looking stuff. I thought it was ice cream, but I guess it's oatmeal. But he's like twiddling through his breakfast and stuff. And Jay's like, stop playing with your food. And he like, I ain't playing. I'm going over my algebra. I'm studying still and all this and that. And Michael walks over and basically just give him like a little pop quiz, give him a math problem right quick, right fast. And he actually got the answer right. Of course, Michael had to look over to Jay to see if it was the right answer. And Jay let him know it was the right answer. So they are, amazed. And at the same time, Michael is feeling himself. Along with him doing better in math, showing his capabilities and everything, he is also trying to get to school early. And he's trying to give her a gift and stuff. Boy. See, Michael's plan is revealing a lot of things. And again, Jay's concern props up again because she is like, he is falling in love with her. And he like, chill out. It's just, puppy love. It's just a little crush. She like, you think he knows that? Like, and Michael is like, man, you're going to have to pick a struggle. I don't see what difference it makes. He's getting better in math. That's what you wanted. His motivation is picking up and he's going to pass his test. And Jay is like, yeah, he's going to pass it with a broken heart. Like, I don't think that this is good. She's thinking highly about the emotional aspect of everything. And that's not bad to do. Again, I'm going to point out that she don't have that same energy for Claire. But yeah. And Michael has to explain to her, like, some of the greatest things have been created off the backs of some man or men trying to impress women. And he like, Henry Ford created the car and all of that based off trying to impress some women. And she like, bruh, stop. You just talking to be talking. And he like, no. He pulled up to him in his coupe. Tell my, hey, shawty, what is it giving? You want to hop up in my ride? I get you there in half the time. And you ain't got to smell horse booty all the way. So that scene ends with them having a good old laugh at that. Now, Claire and Jay's bonding time. They decided to go to the hair salon. And Jay is like, this is really good, isn't it? And Jay agrees. And Jay is also like, I didn't get to do a whole lot of these type things with my mama. And Claire asks her, well, why? What was the problem? And Jay says, I don't know. A lot of the times I spent being hostile toward her. We spent bickering. And it just seemed like everything that she did was wrong. And I didn't really want to hear nothing that she had to say. And Jay is like, Claire is like, sounds about right. And Jay tells her, but the way my mama would have handled it is to whoop my butt, which I probably wouldn't do because of all of these witnesses. And I honestly agree, despite the witnesses. Don't get me wrong. Claire is hell by the mouth. And I can see how that would make you want to pop her in her mouth. At the same time, as I said before, I see where she's coming from because at that rate, whooping her wouldn't make it no better. Which Jay kind of expresses and explains that she said that her and her mama could find no way to get along. The whoopings didn't work. Eventually, she just ended up not talking to her for about 7 years. And that's hell. That's a lot, And she tells her, I ain't looking to always be so mushy kumbaya and all this and that. But the least we could do is learn how to be civil with each other despite our differences. And honey, that is one hell of a value to learn, let alone be able to teach. And so she tells her, look, Claire, I really don't like what's going on here. And this prompts Claire to open up a bit. Like, she's just going through a whole lot of things are changing, and she just don't think that it's anything that Jay would understand. And I also think that translates to she don't think Jay wants to hear it. Because again, Jay don't give her the same type of attention and empathy and kitten gloves and all of that as she gives the other two kids. So it can make her feel like, one, you're not gonna understand because anything that differs from what you think and feel when it comes to me, you just shoot it down, and or you're not really listening or paying attention. Like, even at the beginning of this episode, when she was talking to Claire, and again, I understand she had just gotten in the house, she didn't even really have time to think all of that and trying to multitask and shit. Got 3 kids. It's hard, but she was going through the mail. Not making eye contact, barely listening to what Claire is saying to her. And when she is listening, it's more so hearing to respond, not to actually take in what Claire is trying to say to her. And being the fact that it seems to be a pattern of that, it's excessive to a degree, it would definitely make Claire feel like you don't understand, you don't want to understand. But Jay remains open and she says, try me. I love Tisha Campbell's body language when she acts too, because she leans back, opens herself up physically, and that aligns with what she says. See, learning and shit, showing the improvement of shit. Here for it. And Claire goes in, everything is changing. I'm like right in the middle of everything. Some of my friends are trying real hard to be grown, and the rest of my friends are still acting like babies. And Jay is like, bro, I understand where you coming from. I've been there before. And sooner or later, all of y'all gonna be doing the most trying to act grown. And she goes on to say, Things will constantly be changing through life, but one thing that won't ever change is that I will always be on your side, in your corner. And Claire's like, but you're the one that's always telling me no. And again, translation, it don't seem like you ever on my side. It seems like you always on somebody else's side and dismissing me. And Jay is like, that is because I am not your friend. I am your mother. And that's a double-edged sword, because once again, you don't keep that same energy. You seem to be mostly against Claire, on the opposition of what Claire is saying and what Claire wants. And sometimes it is ridiculous. Sometimes she really don't be asking for much, and you still shoot it down, and you still let the other two kids get away with shit that you don't let her get away with. But also, there is some degree of friendly that you should be with your kids, because your kids are learning everything from you, including how to socialize, how to be a friend. And friends still hold you accountable. They're supposed to hold you accountable and tell you when you're wrong, tell you when something is ridiculous. Okay, that's still an element of being a true friend to someone, showing true loyalty to someone. And then there's also that side of being a friend where I'm not going to always be trying to argue with you and just tell you what to do and nag you and push you around and all this and that. Again, yes, she is her mother, so there has to be boundaries there. But look at how excessive Jay has been with the boundaries and the nagging and the this and that. And where did that get you? It just got her to treating you like an op. So yeah, all that to say, to some degree, you have to still also be her friend, just like you are being now. Is y'all go out, go shopping, go get your hair done together, bond, and talk about different things casually. That's an element of friendly nature. And it's things like that that will also teach Claire how to be a friend, how to navigate through different relationships, such as the being civil despite differences. Even with your friends, you have disagreements, and it doesn't mean that you have to start treating your friend nasty and talking crazy to them. Y'all can go out to brunch, get some food, go shopping, and discuss the issues casually over that quality time. Okay? So that's the only issue that I be having with that phrase, because I do understand what people and parents mean when they say that, but at the same time, it's highly flawed, because you need to be a mother and nurture and discipline, but you are also teaching them how to navigate through relationships. And if the only method you are using is force and assertiveness, that's also how they're going to end up operating through relationships, throwing tantrums, getting smart, rolling their neck, rolling their eyes, storming off, icing people out, saying mean stuff that, you know, probably can't come back from, doing stuff to hurt the other person that eventually you probably won't be able to come back from. Okay? Okay. So you may not need to be their friend per se, but you do need to balance out time and moments and elements where you are friendly with them. And I believe some sort of understanding is gained about that concept, because when Jay says that, Claire responds, well, is there anything that we're ever going to agree on? And we get a quick flash into the next scene, and they coming into the house, and we see they got some highlights. They got some blue highlights put in their hair. And this is some friendly ass shit, okay? I fucks with it. Because it ain't too much. It's just a little boop boop. You know what I'm saying? A little boop boop. Shout out to Big Ange. Rest in peace to Big Ange. And yeah, it's something too that a lot of parents wouldn't allow their kids to do, let alone do it with them. And so, again, just a little boop boop. Quick little cute little. And it's up. It helped build a bridge. And Michael is also looking at them crazy. Because one, he notices what's going on with their head. And they have gone from bickering like cats and dogs to coming in, hee hee ha ha, and kikiing like girlfriends. And boom goes the dynamite. Now we get to see Junior with his tutor, Danielle. And she's going through this algebra problem that involves traveling by train for a bunch of hours. Again, I am not good at math either, so I'm not even finna try to say this the way that she said it. But she basically asked him, how many hours do it take to get from here to there type shit? And he tells her, he got the answer right. And she like, okay, cool. You have really gotten the hang of this. I don't think you're gonna be needing me no more. And he like, wait a minute. What's gonna happen when the trains get to the station and you get off your train and I get off my train? We just gonna go in opposite directions. That's not right. And this is where she basically has to break up with him on some shit. She like, look, you knew this was gonna have to happen. I can't just stay and tutor you no more. Like, you got it now. You gotta learn how to fly on your own, little birdie. And he's like, but I love you. And she's like, oh, Junior, I love you too. And he like, that's the tone my grandma used with me. No, I love you. And she just looking at him like, oh, how cute. Like a little puppy. And she tells him, come on, walk me to the door. And he turned around talking about, I can't. God damn it, Junior. Pull it together. But she just looked down, honey. She keep it cute. She keep it professional. And I'm so glad that they didn't have this take a turn at all. Because that would have been... but there would have been a good fight between her and Jay. Woo, child. But she keeps it cute with him the whole time, encouraging him maturely, but delicately rejecting him where it matters. And that's something he had to learn to deal with, child. She walks on back over to him, gives him a little kiss on the cheek, and it's like, I see you later, buddy. I just remember, too, Junior crazy as hell, but this dude show, like, the power of women on some shit. Because Junior gonna tell her, I love you. I want to have your babies. And she is silly herself because she gonna say, it's not me you're in love with. It's math. Girl, no, it's not. He don't like that shit. But I do also like the fact that before she walked out, she gave him this, you is kind, you is smart, you is important ass speech. Nah. Drum roll. Okay, I might have did that backwards, but it's all good. You understand what it's given. We at the main event, and that is Junior's final. And we get to see his teacher again. We also get to learn more that his teacher is Petty Boots. He's going around handing out the exam and all, and explaining to them that some of them will have a second chance to take the test during the summer. And he says that specifically once he gets to Junior to hand him his test. And Junior looked at the paper, and it looked like a bunch of shit that he don't recognize. He looking at the paper like he ain't never seen that stuff a day before in his life. Like it's his first day of school. Like it's his first day at the rodeo and the picnic. But then he looks up in inspiration. And he see these two like planet figures. It's up at the right hand corner, honey. I took a picture of it. But them two planetary figures, I guess, are reminding him of bosoms. Goodness gracious, the teenage mind of a boy. Then he looks forward. He sees his teacher pull out something on a plate that is like mounds and also resembles bosoms to him. And this allows him to form this mirage of Danielle. And Danielle is looking at him and smiling, in his imagination that is, looking at him and smiling and blowing him kisses, blowing me kisses, she blowing me kisses. And he uses that as motivation to get right before the night is up on that test. So that was a cute little quick little scene. Later that day, Junior gets home, low in his spirits, looking all dilapidated and everything. But he passed his test. He lets Michael and Jay know that he passed his test. And he just heads on as he goes. Michael is congratulating him, giving him encouraging words like, I knew you could do it, son. I knew you could do it. That is amazing. And Jay is in her fifis because she don't want to see him in pain like that. She is clearly keen to the fact that he is experiencing some heartbreak and some resentment from rejection. And she turns to Michael like, I told you he was gonna be heartbroken. Like, look what you did to my baby. And Michael is telling her, look, he gonna have to experience it at some point, okay? Life be life, and sometimes you wanted him to learn algebra, he did that. We proved that he is capable. He ain't dyscalculic or nothing. He ain't just stupid. He's capable. He just needed some extra motivation. So you was right in that area. And look, if he had to experience, you know what I'm saying, this bit of pain for him to learn more about himself, then so be it. And Jay tells him, You might be able to do all this tough love stuff, but I ain't got it. I'm Miss Muffer, and I don't like to see him like this. It is hurting my heart. And she makes this face that's letting him know that somebody got to go put a band-aid on the boo-boo. So they do the coin toss again. This time she calls tails. And it lands on tails, honey. It lands on tails. So she get up, she do her victory dance and all, and he looking at her like, how you be doing it? How you be doing Michael makes it upstairs to talk to him. He and her laid out, she's out of my life. She's out of my life. And he just singing the same part over and over and over again. Speaking of which, I can't wait till I get to that episode where Claire done broke up with her boyfriend and she in her room singing Mary J. Blige. I'm hold off on it. I really want to do it so bad. But I'm hold off on it till we get to that episode. Anywho, Michael comes in and it's like, son, you know it's more words to this song than she's out of my life. And he's talking about, not to me there aren't. And Michael goes in to tell him, I'm sorry that you hurting, but I needed you to learn algebra, and you needed to do that for yourself as well. And Junior's like, man, you have no idea. Like, you do not understand what I'm feeling right now. And Michael is like, I actually do, and I kind of figured that this was going to happen. And Junior tells him, well, why would you set me up like this? Why you even introduce me to her? Why you just go find some old fat lady with a mustache and body odor? And he says, because your mother's sister was unavailable. Ooh, roasted. That was disrespectful, sir. But on a serious note, he tells him, you wouldn't have learned algebra that way. You would not have been motivated. Wouldn't even, you know what I'm saying? Probably would have found every excuse to not link with the lady. So you wouldn't have learned algebra, and you wouldn't have learned how to be a man. And Junior says, but I didn't learn how to be a man. And Michael says, but you did. Because men have to learn how to control their emotions. Preach! Preach, Pastor! Tell him! And he goes on to say, sooner or later, every man is going to come across a woman that he falls in love with or is attracted to that he can't have. Her glory. Woo! Hallelujah! A shubba dubba 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 dubba. He ain't never lied. And boy, it's so many men that clearly missed out on that lesson. Wooch! How? Because when I tell you, I am so tired of hearing about women being attacked and harmed just because they didn't want some man. And that man could not handle rejection and his own damn emotions. I'm telling you, sometimes I hate going places. Sometimes I hate mingling with certain types of men or men in general sometimes because, honey, the way they like to try to force you to fuck with them, oh my gosh. The anxiety that it breeds. But that's, you know what I'm saying? We'll unpack all of that deeper another time. But baby, he spoke a whole word there. Oh my gosh, that is out of all the lessons to be lessons in this episode, baby, that one is made of diamond. Cause baby, so many issues could be non-existent if more male creatures were taught and encouraged to not only indulge in their emotions, but to also regulate their emotions and accept rejection. Cloud, have mercy. But moreover from that, I also would, impress upon Junior that now you also know how to be in tune with your emotions, regulate your emotions, work through the emotions, and work through the emotions in a physical way. Like you had a test to do and you had heartbreak on your mind. And you found a way to get through it. A lot of people can't do that. But you did, shawty. You weren't good in math at first, but you got good, and you got your heart broke, and you aced that test all at the same time, boy. And with all that said, Michael lets him know that he is the utmost proud of him because he also knows that he wasn't all outside that lady house, and he ain't all outside that lady house right now talking about, I love you. I can't live without you. And Junior's like, no, darling, I wouldn't do that. And Michael says to him, good, because that was me. All outside my Spanish teacher's house, sobbing and carrying on. And she laughed at me, made fun of me, told the whole class. But guess what? In the Mimi Faust voice. I never forgot Spanish. And he says to him, one of the things that he learned in Spanish. And Junior's like, what that mean? And he says, I love you. I can't live without you. Shit, to some degree, I bet Junior wished that it was Spanish that was the issue. But shit, if I'm remembering correctly on the last episode, Junior was doing good in Spanish, so he probably already know a couple of romantic phrases that he can drop on the girlies to swoon the honey buns. You know what I'm saying? But they have a good old laugh over that. That was really funny. That was a really good episode too, and I like the multitude of parenting methods that were used throughout the episode. Some of the generational pathologies that they were working through, and all in all, what I get from this too is the parents going through different methods to figure out how to relate to the kids. So for instance, this is kind of, even though it's not labeled as a part two of the last episode before this one, is kind of a part two of that episode, because there was a whole lot of lying going on in the last episode. And people usually lie to gain something or because they are afraid of something. So this episode kind of goes deeper into that, like cleaning up, whatever mess, and tapping into what was causing the lying, okay? Whereas last episode, they halted the lying. They stopped the lying and let them know that wasn't gonna fly. And this one, they get more so into figuring out not only where is the lying coming from, but also where is the struggle in math coming from, and where is this attitude and this passive aggressive and kind of conniving element of Claire coming from. And in order for them to get to the root of that, they had to remember their own childhood and remember what it was like for them, the types of things that were on their mind, the types of things that they were up against, and the types of things that they weren't up against. So, yeah, all of that helped them to relate to the kids, to make them feel safe, to open up and be honest, and not only be honest, but also put forth more effort on their end to just be better people overall. And with all that being said, child, if I do say so myself, honey, I have milked this cow dry. And I'm thoroughly appreciative of the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly quarters for the next time. And be sure to bless my comment section with show questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you in all ways light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.